Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on our Facebook page. I'm your host, Nunez, along with our producer, Alden Iowani. Our very special guest today is Highland Powerlifting head coach Phil Lovato, who also doubles as the Highland football coach. Coach, welcome to the show. You and I were at the Bill Gentry Memorial Golf Tournament, the fifth one that the Highland Alumni Association has put on, and you were out there yesterday along with Coach Woody. Former principal Marco Harris, athletic director John Barnhill, former head basketball coach Ray Rodriguez, a lot of Hornets out there. Bill Gentry, Billy Gentry, Tom Gentry, Zach Gentry. What do you think of the tournament? That's our fifth annual. What'd you think?
Oh, it's always, it's fun to be a part of. It's fun to interact with a lot of, other alum from, throughout the generations, and just to see the support that comes out it's always just a good time. Weather was beautiful. It got a little chilly there at times, but for the most part, it's just a wonderful event. And, what can you say, but you're playing golf and enjoying it.
Yeah, you got to. I still remember the last conversation you had with Coach Gentry, and I remember you talking about that on one of the shows. And Coach Gentry, we mentioned what a figure, right? I mean, three state championships, member of the Albuquerque, New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame, and also a member of the Highland Sports Hall of Fame, iconic figure, a legend. So, anyway, it was good to see you out there, Coach. You're the. We talked about this yesterday. You've been the head coach of the powerlifting team as well for was it 5 years now that you've been there as the powerlifting coach?
I mean, since it first started, so what was that, 20 2020? It was right, it was that COVID time. And so that's, yeah, we started doing it then, and just kind of, you know, it's grown from there. And now we actually had an assistant coach, and now he's now, because since we're able to split it up into a boys and a girls program, so we all do everything together, but he works with the boys, I work with the girls, but we're really all together. So it's a lot of fun.
I wanted to tell we had Alex Salata, the former Rio Rancho powerlifting coach, on a couple of years ago, but this is relatively a new activity, and the pictures that I saw, online, and some of the kids at the weight that they lifted. But what I wanted to you to talk about is just another opportunity for kids to participate. You mentioned to me not every kid wants to play football, shoot baskets, play baseball, run track. This is an opportunity for a lot of kids to get involved, stay healthy. And you look at some of these kids and the work they put in, man. That kid we mentioned from Hobbs, that kid, man, lifted the
Yeah.
most weight of anybody combined. But talk a little bit about the opportunity. I love to see kids involved, man. I love to see them have other opportunities. We didn't have that when you were in school. Certainly when I wasn't. When I was in school, they didn't have that. Talk a little bit about another opportunity for kids to participate in something pretty darn good.
I think, excuse me, I think that's kind of the biggest thing. It's another opportunity to do something. And like you said, right? Some kids just don't want to run, jump, and do all these other things. And so, um, sometimes they're already going to the gym, or, they have a dad who's uncle, somebody, mother who's big into some kind of fitness thing or whatever. And so then they kind of get into it. And now we have this sport to really say, hey, take what you've already been doing, let's say, and let's expand it, right? And it's different than your standard weight training class. It's different than when you go to the weight room. There's strict rules involved. There's strict guidelines that you have to follow, especially the way we do it with in New Mexico. And so there's still a lot of discipline, a lot of discipline. So these kids who are coming out and doing it, they're not just doing something on their free time. They're being coached. They're having to be properly trained. It's a long process. We start typically October. Sometimes a little bit sooner, and I mean it goes all the way to state, which is April, and so that's a long time. Especially when you're not, for us, we don't compete all the time. We do one at the beginning of competition, and then we do one at the end before state, and that's a lot of committed time for these kids to barely really showcase themselves, right? And so again, it's another sport that takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment that these kids are doing and excelling at.
I want to ask you too. I think it's another opportunity for females. I love to see females involved. And somebody might say earlier, right? Maybe 10 years ago, this is just a male sport. Talk about the female involvement because you see the young ladies involved with this and they put in some work. They're proud of what they do. They and we'll talk about they have to squat, clean. You'll talk about the
Yeah,
categories here in a minute. But talk about you coach the young ladies. Rebecca Neal being one of them, one of your power lifters who's a phenomenal athlete, like your daughter
right.
Michaela was, and we'll talk about her in a little while. But I
Yeah.
think for me, I love all sports. You do too. But to see females get out there and be recognized, noticed, get medals, talk a little bit about their participation.
Well, right when we first started this, it was the whole kind of activity sport, and it was mainly boys, right? The COVID thing for football, and how it kind of started, and then as it rolled to more of what it is, I remember the first year where girls were actually now a part of it. My Michaela was one of the first. That was the first year, and so as a freshman, she was able to participate, and she actually placed fourth that year. And I had probably four girls maybe, um, and this year we had I don't on 30. I think I had about 32 girls maybe, and so it's interesting because I've watched not just my team but other teams throughout the state, and I mean they're just growing, right? The female side has really exploded. I think you're seeing a lot of girls that are just empowered now. You know what I mean? They go up there and they're not afraid. Like it's impressive. There's a girl out of Grants. I mean, she just total weight was over 1,000 pounds. Like she was at 1,015 or something. I mean, that's a lot of weight. I mean, when you're seeing, I mean, Rebecca, like you just said, I mean, she broke the deadlift record. She has in two weight classes actually, the 148 and this year the 165, and she deadlifted 370, and with ease. I mean, we could have probably went to 400, but last time she did that about a month ago, she couldn't even get 370, and all of a sudden, the energy at state, the excitement, boom, she's getting it. And I mean, there's Bernalillo has a real little girl that I think she won state this year. I mean, just exceptionally strong. So, it's grown in a way I think for girls uh, to really show a different side of them. They get along really well together. You see them encourage each other, which is really in powerlifting in general. You, you're competing, but you really don't dislike that other team or nothing because you're really competing against yourself. And so, especially on the ladies side, when you see uh, somebody just do a weight that may be light to everybody else, but that girl just struggles and lifts it up and it's her max and she's jumping up and crying and excited. Everybody gets into it, so it's really neat.
You mentioned the adrenaline with Rebecca Neal, the crowd, the other people, the encouragement. It's the same thing as the football, the adrenaline at a state game, adrenaline at basketball, adrenaline in whatever sport you're playing, the
Right.
encouragement. And I love what you said about the empowerment. Empower young females, right? Empower them, man. This is something you've accomplished. You're good at it, and it's not easy, man. It's not, to power lift. I do some weightlifting, but on the light side, you played football as a lineman. You did some lifting, some heavy lifting, man, back in the day when you played.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different. Describe the categories that they have to. And I read about them, but I'll leave it to you to describe the categories that the young females and the males are judged on here at the powerlifting competition.
Yeah. So it's three lifts. You got your squats first, then you have your bench, and then you have your deadlift. And then they take right the best. You have three opportunities per event, and then the highest number, right? You combine them all three, and then that's your total weight. And so that's how they basically gauge it. Is if right? You squat 300, bench 300, and deadlift 300. So your total is 900. And so, whoever you're competing against, if they get 5 pounds more, then they win. And then obviously, if there's a tie, they go by body weight. I believe, yeah, one of our girls, she placed third this year, or yeah, just this weekend in state, but she was half a pound heavier, I think it was, and so she got bumped to third, and everything matters. It's very, in the squat, you got to be below parallel, so the crease of the hip has to be below the top of the knee, so it's a lower squat than most people realize. And then you
Oh,
can't,
yeah.
yeah, you can't move your hands, you can't move your feet, you can't, how you take your breath. Like it's very strict. Even the knee braces, it has to be a certain thickness of a knee. You can't have knee wraps. Bench, people like to use the wrist protection stuff. You can use it, but you can't have the little thumb part out. Right? It has to be tucked in. You have
Interesting.
to pause. Yeah, so there's a lot of strict rules that makes it exciting because we've all seen it. You go to the gym and kids are, even adults, they're bouncing it off their chest to do bench. There's something else whenever you got to hold it and you pause, and that official will not call press until it's stationary. And so, a kid could hold 250 pounds on his chest for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then it's press. That's hard. You know what I mean? Especially when you're used to using momentum to bounce it off your chest. And so, I think the rules that go with each event is what makes it exciting because it's true lifting. It's not gym lifting. You know what I mean? And so that makes it a little bit more exciting, right? And then it's people don't realize actually the strategy behind all those lifts because you win or lose based on your deadlift. That's the last event because most people can do the most deadlift. And so you're strategizing placement all the way until you get there. And then, it gets more complicated with bumps and things like this, but it is a frenzy at the end. You just see everybody doing all these bumps and all this stuff at the very end for state because, everybody has tried to place their numbers in a position so that they can try to go get it in that last event to get the win, and it's exciting. It's really neat, but the strictness of the form and the judges are, this year was, man, they were strict, they were tough, and you saw a lot of people bomb out, and but it's what we got to do. You gotta follow what the judges say and adjust it during the meet, and um, you know, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, you know what's I love hearing about that, and it gives our viewers an idea of what these kids have to do, and it rules, right? Rules, and rules are going to be applicable in life and jobs, and again, you're learning something, right? You're learning,
Right.
just participating, competing. Coach, we're going to take a break. We come back, we'll talk about Highland's the events there at the powerlifting and how they did after these messages on the sports desk.
Okay.
Has been big for these guys.
Brown throws it away, and nobody's coming back to defend. It's an easy layup on the leak out for Escabel.
Jack the floating midi. Into Lily, another heat check. Good! Lily Martinez, 9 points on the night, all coming.
Enriquez just hit one. Enriquez just hit one. Brown throws it away, and nobody's coming back to defend. It's an easy layup on the leak out for Escabel.
Jack the Foden midi. Into Lily, another heat check. Good! Lily Martinez, 9 points on the night, all coming.
Enriquez just hit one. Hogan in transition.
God,
On a
great
beautiful
pass.
bounce to Malachi Knox.
Oh, nice pass to jive. Russ, beautifully done.
Great
On
job.
the give and go
There's
by
a-
Medina.
Cumber trying to kick it out to Enriquez. He'll fire up a three ball, and it rattles in right between the eyes. Oh.
Cody could jump for it, but left it short. Here comes Ryan on the attack. Nice give and go. Ryan's layup is good, and it's a blocking foul. Have a chance.
On a nice find to Vassell, and Van Dyke pinned it on the glass.
And again into the hands of Jack.
Short arm the mid-range jumper, that's no good. Ahead of the pack, Butler winding up for the jam. Two-hand hammer for Hunter Butler.
Throughout the first half. Another steal by Nunez, back-to-back steals. Nunez will put it down with a two-hand hammer. You saw that one coming.
Raising Cane's invites you to grab life by the chicken fingers. So get out there. Be you. Do you. Embrace whatever makes you, you. All while enjoying Raising Cane's hand-battered cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that secret recipe cane sauce that makes everything that much better. So go on, savor the day.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports. Eagle Greens and Turf are a family-owned and operated business with over 25 years of experience in the home improvement industry. They are your exclusive dealer of celebrity green, synthetic putting greens, and artificial turf. They also have artificial turf that is specifically designed for your pets. Eagle Greens and Turf are proud sponsors of ProView Networks and can make your lawn green all year long at 505-273-2744.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on our Facebook page. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Our very special guest today, Highland powerlifting coach Bill Lovato, also doubles as the football coach there. And coach, you know, in the first segment, you were talking about the rules and what they we got some pictures that you sent. Our producer said that not all of them came through, but some of them did. So talk to us a little bit about Highland, you know, at the competition, at the powerlifting competition. They had it in the paper, and it was a good article, man. I read everything sports. So the kid, we mentioned the kid from Hobbs who lifted more weight than anyone. And people may think, coach, that, hey, these guys are, you know, great football players, and there's some pictures there. And they're not always, it's not always the case, right? Yeah, there's a video there of some of your athletes. And look at the crowd, man. You guys had a good crowd out there. So the adrenaline. Talk a little bit about how your Highland athletes did out there.
I mean, we did well. We were hoping we would have got more boys in. We did get 4. One of them, Jasper Groves, he ended up winning his weight class. He's a 2-time state champion now. So he went from 165 last year, and he went to 198 this year. We had a surprise kid that got in, I think, at 8th place, and he ended up finishing 5th in the 123s, I believe. And, the other two, one had a bad day, but the other one, he PR'd everywhere. So that was good. And then, on the girls' side, we had 8 that got into state. And, it was, I mean, it was phenomenal. Like our girls really, every single one had a PR in total weight. Every single one did, they did excellent. And, we ended up getting a state champion in Rebecca. Neil, we got a second place with Azzy Begay. Our third place was Medea Medina, I believe what it was. Let's see, we had, I got to say, Jimena, she came in 5th. My daughter, Sydney, my middle one, she, it's funny, she was ranked 17th and she gets in, and then she ended up coming in 5th place, which was crazy. And then Ilya, who's been with me since the beginning as well, Torres, she came in 5th. And it was just everybody did what they needed to do. And as a team, our girls, we finished in 4th. About, I think it's about 6-7 points off of the 3rd place. And what I'm excited about is, for us, we're always right there. I mean, we're just, we're always a couple of girls away from, I think, placing right now. This is the second time we've placed 4th. And we're battling with, Lovington, Portales are always winning state back and forth. Grants is always, powerhouse in that top 3. And so we're just, we're getting so close to knocking down the door. And, I'm just, hopefully we lose a lot of girls this year, but we have a lot that are coming back, younger ones, I think, that can do very well. And, I mean, our girls have, we've set records in multiple weight classes, multiple events, throughout the years. And, both boys and girls, we've got somebody pretty much always in a scoring position. And so, I'm really proud of what we've done as a program, and what the kids have really done and bought in, because we lift in the morning, because all of our kids they play other sports, and every other sport is after school. So they have to commit if they want to do this, and they come in the morning with us at, 6:30 in the morning, and that's when they practice. So,
yeah, that's a lot of commitment for kids. A lot of kids like to sleep in, man. My old man never let me sleep in, and my internal clock is still 5:30, even though I'm retired. Can't
Right.
I barely sleep past that, because my old man, I still hear him. No, we're not sleeping. And he wasn't mean about it. It's the way he grew up. He
Yeah.
had to get up at 4. So, I think one of the things you mentioned just about the you're one of the people you have coming back. One of them is your daughter. She'll be back. And I think when you see is this an event or powerlifting? Is this offered at the college level? Can they get scholarships with powerlifting?
Yeah, there is. It's growing. There's definitely some smaller schools out there that are starting to offer scholarships. And you got to be willing to kind of travel and all that. And it's exciting to see where it's going to go. If this is going to be kind of like the like girls wrestling, right? How it's expanded, and stuff like that. But I could definitely see, I mean, Texas has had it forever, obviously. And those numbers over there are just impressive. How much those girls are lifting. Now, again, like when we were talking about the rules and all that, a lot of other states that have powerlifting, they allow different knee wraps. They allow the bench shirts, the squat briefs, and all these little things that can add to your totals, right? And in New Mexico, we don't allow any of that stuff. So
That's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah. So different rules state to state then.
oh, definitely. And
That's okay. Interesting.
I mean, just it's kind of funny, but like the squat briefs, right? They're like underwear. They can add 15 pounds to your total squat. And for state, for us, if the official thinks that you're wearing them, they tell you, you need to change your underwear. Like you can't have, I think, you can't have legs. And so, they're very strict about trying to make sure that everybody is, as up and up as possible, to make sure that it's fair for everybody.
Sounds like they might be more strict here in New Mexico than they are in other places. The way you're making it sound.
I believe so. You know, I definitely do.
I think again, though, Coach, you've been involved in football all your life almost as a player and a coach. You've
Yeah.
coached in several different places. You've led Highland to the quarterfinals the last couple of years, and you'll reload again and be back. But I think again, it's exciting for me. Although I'm not a power lifter, right? I never was, I never would be. But to me, if you like kids and you want to see kids participate and succeed, you got to be excited about it because it's like, hey, man, I love covering sports, period. So
Yeah.
seeing those kids, even where that little brief video you showed, it's like, hey, you see all these people, and then the crowd, the surge, and the adrenaline. You hear that as an athlete. It doesn't matter where it's at. It doesn't matter what sport. You hear it, and you get that incentive, like, oh man, and then you just see someone power lift or clean or squat, and you want to do better, and you've got
Right.
and you've competed and you put in the time. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing, and those things again help kids succeed, compete, learn rules, the whole thing. So I think it's a great thing that the NMAA has decided to offer, and
Yeah.
you see the increase in numbers, right? You've seen, I'm sure, an increase in numbers every year.
Oh yeah, everywhere. It's going up. A lot of schools are really taking to it, so it's exciting to see how big it's growing.
That's unbelievable. Good news. Coach, before we close this, we got a couple minutes here left. I wanted to get a quick update about your daughter Michaela, who's at the Naval Academy, and one of the great athletes that she could participate in so many sports. Was a tutor. Got accepted to the Naval Academy. An athlete that Highland can be very, very proud of, but a scholar too, man, and that
Yeah.
matters more than anything. We know that participation in athletics is always good, but the academics will always carry the day. Always. Give us a little update about your daughter, how she's doing out there.
Oh, she's doing great. She was playing rugby out there, and she unfortunately got her knee hurt, but had a great surgery, and she's healing great. She's actually, she just came back, I think, from they played in Connecticut, and so, she's I mean, she's fallen in love with rugby, and the schoolwork has definitely been challenging, but she's been embracing it. Oh, hold on, that's my our bell. Hold on.
Oh, we can't even hear it.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
No.
And so she's doing great though. She's academically likes the struggle, and likes all the people she's been meeting, but it's hard. It's very hard. She's grinding for sure.
You mentioned rugby. We covered rugby on ProView Network several years ago. The scrums, the rucks. I was getting used to it. I really was, and it's a totally different game, man. It really is. And those are the proper tacklers, right? Of of football. So anyway, that's good to hear about your daughter. A quick update on the Highland football team. What do you think about your prospects? We got about a minute left for next season.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. Our strength is our offense and defensive line. All of them are in powerlifting. They're all my throwers in track. They're getting stronger, explosive. We're really excited to see what they can do. Like always, we struggle with just numbers. Trying to get kids out. It's our feeder our middle schools, just hard to get a lot of kids out anymore. And with transfer rules and all that, that hurts us as well. So we're not but it's Highland, and whoever shows up on my team, we're gonna grind them hard, and we're gonna push them, and we're gonna be all right.
You've done an excellent job there, Coach. I thought the personnel that you've had, you've done the absolute best that you possibly could. So, Coach Phil Lovato, powerlifting coach, we sure appreciate you being our guest today on Sports Desk.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You bet. For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.